How to make money with scrap copper. Scrap copper could enable you to make some extra money. Scrap metals, such as copper and aluminum, are collected nationwide through community recycling centers. You can receive compensation for your scrap metal items, but some research is required to find recycling centers in your area. Scrap copper may be found within the wiring of small and large appliances, as well as pipes in old homes or computer cords. You may even be able to find scrap copper in items classified as junk. 1. Call several recycling centers in your area. Inquire about the acceptance of copper for recycling. Ask about the pay rate per pound for scrap copper to determine the facility that pays the most money. 2. Gather your scrap copper pieces in a box or a container of sufficient size. Use a wire stripper to remove any plastic covering from your copper wires. If your copper wires are not bare, you may make less money. 3. Place oversized items such as copper pipes or large wires in your vehicle for safe transport. Anchor or tie loose items that are too large for a container, to help avoid an unsafe driving condition. 4. Present your scrap copper items to the recycling center that offered the highest rate per pound during your research. Collect your payment for your contribution of scrap copper. 4 Great Reasons Why Copper is the King of Scrap Metal. By AWD Digital. Copper is one of the most coveted metals down at the scrapyard. It is a non-ferrous metal and is actually the best conductor of electricity, not including precious metals of course. Even though copper is a fairly common metal, it is still highly sought after for recycling purposes. Let's explore 4 reasons why copper is one of the best metals to recycle and discover how you can maximize your return when you turn your scrap copper into cash. 1. Copper is one of the most profitable types of scrap metal. Scrap copper prices vary depending on the grade of the material. This applies to insulated copper wire, and whether the copper you have is clean or mixed. Based on these factors, you could expect to be quoted between $1 to $6 per kilo for your scrap, with insulated copper wire bringing in around $1 to $2 per kilo and clean copper fetching around $4 to $7 per kilo. However, prices will also vary according to the state of the scrap and other metals and materials that may be attached to your copper. Market prices also fluctuate regularly. Copper pipes and other scrap. 2. Copper scrap is extremely easy to find. The non-ferrous metal can be found in gutters, electrical wires and motors, as well as piping and other plumbing fixtures. You can make good use out of your old electronics and appliances by pulling out any copper wiring inside. If you have the time to carry out the required stripping or splitting, valuable copper can be harvested from almost any size cable or wire. Speaker cables are particularly great as it's easy to strip the outside coating off of them, and there can be large amounts of copper in them as they tend to come in quite thick varieties. Another great opportunity to get your hands on some scrap copper is when you or someone you know is renovating their home and the plumbing is being upgraded. Plumbers often switch the pipes from the old copper ones to PVC. Make sure you hold onto the old piping and scrap it for a profit. Automobile scrapyards that allow you to pull out and purchase individual parts could have scrap copper hidden in them, especially in alternators. Check out our blog on the best places to find scrap copper for more ideas. 3. Almost all scrap metal yards accept copper. The energy, effort and cost involved in creating copper from virgin ore is significantly greater than those associated with recycling copper. Therefore, it is much more profitable for industries to recycle copper. This is one of the key factors resulting in copper being such a sought-after material at the scrap metal yard. Copper can actually be recycled over and over again without losing any sort of quality. The exclusion to this rule is for electric wires, which requires newly refined copper. Otherwise, 75% of copper products are actually made from recycled copper. With copper being such an abundant material that is constantly being recycled, reused and repurposed, it will almost always be around in some capacity for you to cash in on and continue the cycle. At the end of the day, it's already been around for the last 10,000 years, as the earliest found example of copper dates back to 8700 BC. 4. It has enormous environmental benefits. For every ton of copper that is recycled, 3.4 tons of Colorado 2E, 10,033 quaff energy. 5.97 kiloliters of water, and 1,100 kilograms of waste is saved. Those are huge numbers when you factor in that recycled copper makes up 75% of copper products, as well as the fact that, as a whole, the process of recycling scrap copper only takes up around 10 to 15% of the energy that is used to make virgin copper, giving us fantastic savings of 85 to 90% in energy used. Let us turn your copper scrap into cash. Metal Men Recycling pays some of Melbourne's premium prices in either cash or EFT/POS for your scrap copper. We accept all types of scrap copper, including copper wire, pipes, tubes, plated, sheet, etc. We can help you sell scrap metal, including scrap copper, without leaving your home or business. Our 24-hour pickup service makes scrapping copper a breeze. We will supply the bins, deliver them to your property, and come back to collect them at your convenience. If you have time to separate your copper from your other materials, strip the shielding from your cables and wire, and remove any foreign objects like steel screws and fittings attached to the copper so you can maximize the value of your scrap. If you'd like advice on recycling copper, current scrap copper prices, or to arrange collection of your scrap, then contact the Scrap Metal Pickup Specialists on 03 5941 6677. Alternatively, you can also fill out the enquiry form on our website.